CCAL, a really good practice essay, mate, and I'm essentially just going to boil it down to three main points for you to consider, because you do write, you write very well. I would just avoid trying to be flippant in your response, for want of a better word. So sometimes I think you maybe just pull up stumps a little bit too quickly, either in a paragraph or even you're concluding kind of sentences are only 2 lines, and despite your enjoyment or lack of enjoyment of the text, make sure that you give yourself the best chance of doing well by giving a thorough analysis or a thorough exploration or a thorough response to the topic, and do yourself justice, despite your lack of enjoyment of the text, or because you write very, very well. So one point I think just needs to come through is probably just address the question or the topic clearly and early. Even after especially after your first paragraph, I'm still not sure whether you're arguing that people are all bad, or some people are all bad, and then even at the end of your second paragraph, it's still really unsure. Like you talk about Blondal and the fact that he's a bad guest and a pretty kind of abrupt and kind of rude host as well, but then at the end you kind of say, well, he still gives him the feather, and I'm just left kind of thinking you don't actually clearly state whether you think he is all bad or just a bit of a dick. So really be clear early on. What is your contention? What's your response to the topic or the question going to be, and then set out, as the essay progresses, in justifying why that's your response and backing it up. And then that leads me to my second point, which is just to bring in a bit more textual evidence when you can, but you paraphrase really, really well, and that's a strength of yours. So, for you, we talk about quotes and things like that. You kind of circumnavigate that point by the fact that you actually just paraphrase events that occur throughout the text. But I think at times too, we talk about using small detail, and the feathers is a great example of small detail. But if you can just chuck in a little quote here or there, one word even, just in quotation marks, that's ripped directly from the text, that might bolster, your demonstration of you knowing the text really well. And my last point is, I would just avoid posing questions throughout the essay. There's no hard and fast rule here about not doing it, but I discourage the use of posing a question in your response, purely because it's just a dangerous kind of avenue. Some examiners just won't like it, and so if you're going to ask a question, just reword it into a statement. For instance, you in your last line, you've said, well, if Frederick and Blondel are not all bad, then who could possibly be? ? No one. No one is all bad. I've just put a line through that and rewritten for you an alternate ending, which essentially says the same thing, but just is a little bit more detailed than that, and avoids asking a question or using a question mark. And so it's just something that you might want to look at. And again, I'm not saying don't do it, but I'm strongly discouraging it. But look, you're writing well. You're a good arguer, and that's what an essay is. Make sure you give yourself the best chance of doing well. But I like it. It's good. It's always different.